there, welcome to Gaining Vision. I'm Melanie. Thanks so much for clicking. To my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your continuous love and support. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please feel at home. I've been talking a lot about the way the Western media is portraying leaders in Africa. And I didn't want people to feel I was picking on African leaders at all. In fact, I have spotted many ways that the Western media is talking to many people across the globe in a way that is not right, in my opinion. As a broadcast teacher, I think it's really important to be unbiased in our way we communicate. If you check my previous videos when I talk about how Julius Malema slams the BBC report that reported it's unprepared.
I'm telling you, there's going to be a revolution. Let the grid collapse and let's see what's going to happen.
Let the grid collapse.
I'm saying to you.
How do you think South Africans are going to feel hearing
I'm
you say
saying,
that? People who are losing their jobs, people who have no income, and you just say...
You are misinterpreting me. I'm saying to you, let the grid collapse as it is going to happen and see what's going to happen in this country. I'm not wishing it. I'm saying it's going to happen.
Or even when I talk about the president of Rwanda being interviewed by many different biased sources.
Right. You've always consistently refused this criticism on human rights, on a democracy that's not exactly a democracy, always saying this comes from the West or Western media or Western organization. Don't they have a point at all?
Wouldn't I have a point if I criticize the Western democracy?
Sure.
Yeah. So what is the problem?
You'll see there's different techniques and ways that broadcasters or journalists need to handle themselves. First and foremost, not putting their own opinion on them. So when I stumbled across an interview with Dr. Sankar from India, being interviewed by European and American broadcasters and journalists.
Mr. Secretary, thanks so much for taking your time. In 2022, about 18,000 people from India have applied for political asylum in Austria. For several months, there was no other country with more asylum seekers here. How would you explain that?
Well, I mean, I don't know the numbers. If you say so, I have to take you at your word. But my sense is that when it comes to irregular migration, sometimes, you know, because these are done by syndicates and gangs, you never know where they end up with. I think what's important is not what happened in the past. It is that we have a commitment to ensure that movement and mobility is legal. We would like a regime, an agreed regime for that. It's good for the global workplace. It's good for the Austrian economy. And we have, that's one of the outcomes of my visit to Vienna.
Another outcome is that you have assured Austria's foreign minister that India will take back all of the citizens who will not get asylum in Austria, which will probably be almost 100%. How fast will this happen?
You know, look, in terms of our citizens, if they're proven to be our citizens, we obviously have an obligation in that regard. But what is important for us is to validate the fact that if there's somebody who's staying illegally, that they are our citizens. If there are citizens, usually we work it out between the governments concerned. I can't give you a time frame on it because it depends on what is the level of proof that is provided for us and what are the preparations on the Austrian side.
I learned something even new. Yes, their agendas were clear. The interviewers knew what they wanted to say and wanted to get across. But I also noticed the importance not only for the broadcasters to be prepared, but also the interviewees. Now, both Julius Malema and the president of Rwanda were very prepared and held themselves well. But Dr. Sankar really showed what it meant to really be prepared to answer many different questions and to turn the tables when the broadcasters or journalists got out of land. For example, one of the broadcasters was questioning Dr. Sankar why it was okay for India to buy oil from Russia.
In terms of our oil purchases, we don't send people out there saying go buy Russian oil. We send people out there saying go buy oil. Now, you buy the best oil you can in the market. So I don't think I would attach a political messaging to that.
And he said he wasn't from Russia, but go buy the oil that was available. And she alluded to the fact that it made it look like India was funding the war against Ukraine. Obviously, this is not the case, and he said so. He was very prepared, and he turned it back at her and said, so the fact that Europe bought energy from Russia, does that mean that Europe is funding the war?
West seems to be quite vociferous in trying to curtail funding for the war in Ukraine, whereas by purchasing this oil for national interest, India is being asked, are you funding this war?
So, look, I mean, I don't want to sound argumentative, but then tell me if buying Russian gas is not funding the war? I mean, why is it's only Indian money and oil coming to India which funds, but it's not gas coming to Europe which funds? I mean, look, somewhere, I mean, let's be a little even-handed out here.
So again, very prepared. Another comment by an American journalist was asking him questions about some of the statements he made regarding China, Russia, etc. And Dr. Sankar made a statement, I'm diplomatic when I talk. And the broadcaster said, well, when you talked about terrorism in Pakistan, you weren't diplomatic. And Dr. Sankar said something very powerful. I can be diplomatic, but it doesn't mean I don't have to tell the truth.
Before you said you're a diplomat, but several weeks ago you called Pakistan, your neighbor, the epicenter of terrorism.
Well, I did it again today without using the word Pakistan.
Yes, and this doesn't sound very diplomatic, does it?
No, because you are a diplomat doesn't mean you're untruthful. I could use much harsher words than epicenter. So believe me, considering what has been happening to us, I think epicenter is a very diplomatic word, because this is a country which has attacked the Parliament of India some years ago, which attacked the city of Mumbai, which went after hotels and foreign tourists, which every day sends terrorists across the border.
But of course, not as a country.
Well, if you control your sovereign space, which I believe they do, if the terrorist camps operate in broad daylight in cities with recruitment and financing, can you really tell me that the Pakistani state doesn't know what's going on?
And you know what? I thought this was beautiful. So I think that definitely we need to have training for people being interviewed by broadcasters that have their own agenda. It's important for us to really take time as interviewers or interviewees to be prepared. Now, I caution journalists, broadcasters from the West, when you're going to interview anyone from a different country or culture, for you to do your research and be prepared and know what you need to do to make sure that you're coming across fair and equal. Because in most of these interviews that I've shared, there is definitely a bias, a slant, and an agenda in all of the questions that they're being asked.
With India counting on global support for in its struggle with China, its issues with China, how do you think you'll be trusted by others after that? Why do you think anyone will help Delhi after you didn't help others over Ukraine?
It's an interesting question which you might, I mean, not you, meaning you personally, but people might want to ask themselves, because if I were to take Europe collectively, which has been singularly silent on many things which were happening, for example, in Asia, you could ask, why would anybody in Asia trust Europe on anything at all? Today, Europe is buying oil. Europe is buying gas. I just read the new package of sanctions. Now, the package is designed in a way in which consideration has been given to the welfare of the population. So, pipelines have a certain carve-out. And timelines have been given. It's not like tomorrow morning everything's going to be cut off. So people need to understand, if you can be considerate of yourself, surely you can be considerate of other people. So if a Europe says, look, we have to manage it in a way in which its impact on my economy is not traumatic, that freedom or that choice should exist for other people as well. Europe has to grow out of the mindset that Europe's problems are the world's problems, but the world's problems are not Europe's problems. That If it is you, it's yours. If it is me, it's ours.
It makes me pause and think really, truly, what is it the Western world is after? What is it that we are trying to accomplish? Are we really wanting to hear the truth about what's happening in these countries, their actual stance and topics on issues that are important to know across the globe? Or is it that we want to put words into their mouth? What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear your comments. Drop them below. Let's have a conversation. And again, if you have any other contact of leaders across the globe being interviewed by Western sources that I need to take a look at and have an analysis of, I'm happy to do so. Until next time, do me a favor, do your research. I'm going to do mine, and we'll reconnect here on this platform again. Drop by often. Please hit subscribe, like, and share, and definitely hit that notification button, because I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Until next time, see you later. Bye.